Hello guys, this is Max. So the story is that about 2 months ago I received my first motion rig, an H2R from DOF Reality, and today I would like to talk to you about my experience of playing in DCS with this unit. Is it worth it? How much it costs? How much space it takes up? Is it difficult to assemble? Before pulling the trigger on this unit, I had all these questions in my mind, but first I want to tell you that the idea of a motion rig came after several steps I took before to add always more and more immersion in my experience with DCS. When I first started playing DCS, I was using a simple Xbox controller. Then I got a track IR, a stick with a throttle, and a couple of MFDs. And all these things were hooked up to my desk. Then, after a few months, I got from eBay a fixed seat with AURAS mount and a butt kicker. The butt kicker was a great addition, the first real whole-body force feedback experience, and it's something that I strongly recommend to anyone that has even a fixed seat, because it really adds a lot to the immersion, and you really start to feel more about what the jet, what the plane is actually doing. The feedback, the haptic feedback, it's something that you have to try because it's unbelievable. And then last summer I found a deal for an X-Demo Pimax Crystal OG, and experiencing DCS with such a high quality headset was such an amazing experience that I thought if I could have a moving seat underneath, it will feel almost 100% real. So this brings me straight to the first question. Is it worth it? Definitely yes, but only if you already have a VR headset. This is mainly because how the brain works and how it could be fooled from the VR experience. Simply because when you are wearing your headset, you don't see anything else with exception of the visual and the audio output from your simulator. So your brain is forced to believe that you're actually in the scene you're looking at. At that point, your brain is already prepared to believe that even a few degrees of movement coming from your seat, synchronized with the scene that you're actually seeing, are credible. This brings us to the choice of the motion rig. You actually don't need something that does the 360 or all the fancy stuff that you can see in some YouTube videos. You only need something that could move smooth or fast accordingly to the telemetry coming out from your simulator. And if you are mostly flying jets like me, you just need a unit with 2 degrees of freedom, one for the pitch and one for the roll. The H2R from DOF, it's exactly like this. It has 2 motors, each one with 20 degrees of movement. And when I took it, it was about mid-October, and it was around 2,200 euros without the seat and including the shipping costs. Now I know that the price have risen a bit after Christmas because they're getting a lot of orders. The cool thing about this motion rig is that it's upgradable. I mean, if you want the 3rd degrees of freedom, that is actually the yaw, you can buy the single motor for that. Yaw is something that I strongly suggest if you fly mostly warbirds, like I don't. Not because I'm not interested in that, but because I'm still trying to learn the best I can flying jets, so I don't want to add too much things. And something that I strongly recommend if you're flying helicopters too. But consider that adding the 3rd motor or just buying the H3 from scratch, it will put you in a different price range because you are almost around 4,000 euros. So if you don't have too many demands, if you mostly fly jets, you can go safe with the H2R without spending an impossible amount of money. But anyway, adding a real jump in the immersion of flying in DCS, probably the same as switching from track IR to VR. So coming back to the main topics about the space the unit takes up. It's not that big. It's almost 60 centimeters wide, and it's about 1.5 meters in length, considering the rudder pedals mount. So it's something that it takes some space, but it's not something that huge that you cannot place it in your bedroom, for example, unless you have a really small bedroom. The other important thing about placement is that you have to study a bit about the management of the cabling coming from your OTAS, and buy obviously an USB self-powered hub, a nice one, not a cheap one, and consider the length of the power cables that connects the motors to the DOF power supply unit. The rig comes in 2 big boxes, and usually it takes from 2 to up to 5 weeks to be delivered to your home since you make the order. The lower part of the rig comes already assembled, so the potentially more tricky part it's already done. You'll find the link for the PDF files with the instructions. You'll have all the tools inside the box to assemble the unit, so I think it's not something that is super easy. It will take some hours, you have to be patient, but it's not impossible, and I could say that from a scale to 0 to 10, it's about 6. So at this point, I know that I've made only an overall and superficial description of the unit. So if you have questions or doubts of any nature, feel free to ask me in the comments. See you next time, bye!